Everyone, welcome and thank you so much for attending my professional development session today, where I am going to be discussing social emotional learning in the virtual classroom. What is social emotional learning? Why is it important? How can it benefit you, your students? And I'm also going to be reviewing some strategies with how you can begin implementing SEL in your classroom every day. So today's schools are becoming so much more diverse than they were years ago. We have students from all different backgrounds, and implementing social and emotional learning can really help us to provide a foundation for safe and positive learning for our students. It can help us to enhance their ability to succeed in school and even outside of school once they graduate, they get their career, they move on with their life. How can we help our students to be successful? SEL will help us with that. Just a little fun fact before we kind of dive into things. And when I found this, it just really is mind blowing. A 2015 study in the Journal of Benefit Cost Analysis determined that for every dollar spent on an SEL program, an $11 benefit emerges. A 110% return on investment, everybody. This is huge. This shows us that SEL matters, it's not going anywhere, and that it is worthy of our time, our money, and our students deserve it. Goals for today's session, I want you to have a better understanding of how to begin implementing SEL into your virtual classroom. We want you to understand and utilize the best practices for helping students manage their emotions and behaviors. I want you to be able to walk away from here today having the confidence to be able to work with students and help them build positive relationships with you, with their peers, and with anyone that they come into contact with, and also help those students understand how to deal with conflict. Lastly, I want to bring social awareness to students by modeling how we as teachers can show empathy and understanding for others. Now, I want you guys to use your polling tools here today, and I want you to tell me, how familiar are you with SEL? Okay. So A, I've heard of it, but that's about it. You maybe know that SEL stands for social emotional learning, but you really don't know the ins and outs of it. B, I think I've used it in my class, but definitely need some more help with fully understanding NC. SEL is life. I implement it weekly or daily with my classes. So let's use those polling tools. I just want to kind of get a feel for where we are at here and kind of see our understanding. I know now I did, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment. I had you guys complete a short survey when we were at French Lick, and the results of those surveys are what really, gave me the push to create this professional development session, because it does seem that there is absolutely a need for more education for our teachers here at INDLS over social emotional learning. All right, so a couple more seconds here. If you have not responded to the polling question, how familiar are you with SEL, social emotional learning? How confident do you feel with this? I hope that I am able to help those of you answering A and even B, a whole bunch today. And those of you that are telling me C, feel free to chime in, use the chat at any time. I can't wait to hear some of the strategies that you're already using in your class. All right, thank you everyone for responding there. So why SEL and why now? Why is it so important? Okay. really hasn't been a huge priority here at INDLS until now. If you remember back in May, our superintendent Liz had informed us that our counselors were undergoing some intensive SEL training, and they are going to be bringing that back to us teachers, the rest of the staff, as we embark on the 2021-22 school year. And like I said before, that survey really told me that we need some help. The questions that we included in that survey were simple. Number one, I feel comfortable with my knowledge of SEL and how to use it in my classroom. Number two, I need some help with ways to implement SEL in my classroom. Number three, our students have strong relationship skills. Now, almost all of these, you guys, were rating not so good. Okay. And SEL can really help us with all three of these factors. Um, and a big reason that there is such a big push for social emotional learning is that there has been so much research on this and it has been proven to work. Okay, let's build those relationships. Let's make our students more socially aware and empathetic. Let's make our students more confident. Who doesn't want those things, right? We all want that. And so these strategies are hopefully going to help you out with that today. So, what exactly is social emotional learning? What is it? All right, so when we're trying to define social emotional learning, CASEL.org is a fantastic website that can tell you anything and everything there is to know about social emotional learning. And they define SEL as the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. So this is a basically a social and emotional learning wheel here on the board that shows us the competencies, including examples for each, and the 4 key settings involved with SEL. And so we're going to dig into some of these um, today here in our learning. Now, I do have a short video that I am going to share with you all today, just kind of giving a more detailed explanation of SEL.
Think about the young people in your lives and all the different places where they're learning about themselves, how to relate to others, and work together on goals. How can we intentionally create learning experiences that will help all young people develop and maintain positive relationships, become lifelong learners, and contribute to a more caring, just world? Educators, researchers, community members, families, and the students themselves agree what we need is social and emotional learning, or SEL. SEL is the process through which young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that help us to understand ourselves, connect with others, achieve our goals, and support our communities. We all need opportunities to learn and engage in environments where we feel safe, valued, and a sense of belonging. So how does SEL help schools, families, and communities work together so that all young people have these kinds of learning experiences and achieve success in education, careers, and life? CASEL's framework identifies 5 areas of competence that together help us develop a healthy sense of who we are, manage stress, understand the views of others, and work together to create schools and communities where everyone can grow their strengths and interests. Self-awareness is about how we think about ourselves and who we are. It includes understanding our culture, our thoughts, feelings, and what we believe we're capable of, and understanding how these things can influence our behaviors and beliefs. Self-management is the ability to manage those emotions, thoughts, and actions in different situations so that we can achieve individual and collective goals This includes coping with stress and anxiety, persevering through challenges, and taking action to create positive change. Social awareness is how we understand others, how we learn to take different perspectives and empathize even with people who are different from us. It also includes understanding how the broader norms and systems around us influence how we develop and create a sense of belonging. Relationship skills are how we connect and engage effectively with others, and how we form lasting friendships and connections. This includes communicating clearly, solving problems together, managing conflict and disagreements, and standing up for ourselves and the rights of others. Lastly, responsible decision-making is how we put it all together to make caring and constructive choices. This includes thinking critically about consequences, analyzing the impact of our actions on ourselves and others, and identifying solutions that support our collective well-being. We continue to develop and practice SEL throughout our lives and can adapt and apply these competencies across different contexts and cultures. How we develop SEL is impacted by our environments, which is why we need to work together across classrooms, schools, families, and communities. In the classroom, students can be explicitly taught SEL skills and also can practice and apply SEL during core subjects, like discussing different perspectives in social studies and language arts, or collaboratively problem solving in science or math. SEL is most effective when supported by evidence-based programs and trusting relationships where students are treated as partners in their learning. Beyond the classroom, SEL can be intentionally promoted throughout the school experience, from the way they're greeted in the morning to how discipline practices are carried out and how adults themselves develop and model positive relationships and the SEL competencies. Outside of school, families and caregivers provide the earliest and ongoing learning and interactions for their children, so it's important that schools listen to and authentically partner with families to help shape SEL priorities and strategies for supporting their children. Similarly, when schools partner with community organizations to align their efforts, SEL opportunities can be strengthened and students benefit even more. With SEL, we can help create schools and learning spaces where all young people feel connected, inspired, engaged, and ready to contribute to the world around them.
As you can see from looking at these SEL core competencies here, we've got our 5 core pieces here for the social and emotional learning: self-management, self-awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, social awareness. And in that video, they talk about some of the different things for each of these. But when we look at this here just on the board, you can really see there are so many different things that go along with social and emotional learning. And that is why our administrative team has decided, to really place the value in SEL. We will be devoting some of our meeting time during our weekly meetings. Every Wednesday will be devoted to discussing how we teachers are using SEL in our classrooms. How is it working for us, for our students, sharing strategies. And there's even going to be some more implementation of it, which we will talk about later today. So what is our why for SEL? Why is it so important all of a sudden? I want to share some of the benefits with you that I have found through my research. Not only are you going to begin seeing, the benefits immediately, but we will see long-term benefits as well if we are able to successfully begin implementing SEL here at INDLS. So short term, we are seeing improved academic performance. Students are trying harder. They're doing better in their classes. We're going to see an improved school culture and social behaviors. This is something that can really help us out here in our virtual school. We want our students to be, more sociable, right? We want them to be more comfortable talking to us, talking to their peers. This will be really helpful. Our students are more engaged in the content. And again, for us virtual teachers, engagement is key, right? If we don't have our students engaged, we're going to lose them. Okay. It's 100 times more difficult for us to keep our students engaged here. And if we are using SEL, I can guarantee that you are going to get them there, get them in the zone. Okay. We are going to see a decrease in school suspensions. We're going to see better attendance, something we all want, right? Fewer behavioral incidents. Long term, we're talking higher graduation rates, improved workforce readiness, and higher income levels as adults. All right. So not only are we teachers benefiting, but our students, the main priority. That's the best part is that, we are sending them off with these new skills for life. Now, a few key facts here according to the research, because it's research backed. And when we have that and we know that, so many people have done the research on this and it's been proven to work. What are they seeing? Improved academic performance on standardized tests. Like I said before, better school attendance, more positive attitudes towards themselves and others. Okay. Helping with behavior issues. Students enjoy coming to school. Who doesn't want that? Less disruptive classroom behavior, reduced aggression, emotional stress, and substance abuse. And our students are going to be less likely to be suspended or otherwise disciplined. Okay. All awesome, awesome, positive things for our school. So, like I've been saying, the big push for social and emotional learning, number one, we want to help our students succeed, right? But it's going to be easy on us, you guys, because it's been proven to work. Okay. SEL gets results. So just imagine what it could do for our school. Let's begin implementing SEL now to impact our students for the future. So I've got a short video here where one school district that began implementing SEL discusses their success with the program.
I'm a data guy, I like numbers, and we have a lot of evidence that social emotional learning has made a difference.
We had a graduation rate of 62%. Last year, we put up a record-breaking 84%.
Over the last 5 years, our expulsions have been cut in half.
We were suspending about 13,000 days of out-of-school suspension. We were 10 times the average for any school district in Ohio. And within that first year alone, we were able to reduce our out-of-school suspensions by 55%.
Attendance rates went up. We know that attendance is directly correlated to academic improvement and achievement, but it also had other outcomes that were extremely important, which is students feeling more connected to schools, educators having to think outside the box, helping students overcome some of the challenges that are in their life.
There's an 11-to-1 return on investment. So for every dollar invested in programming around social emotional learning, we're seeing that they're saving $11 on remedial programs, dropout prevention. So there's lots of reasons that people are coming to the conclusion that this is something that we need to be prioritizing.
So speaking specifically about Indiana Digital Learning School and SEL, I have just a few things that, I feel really need to be discussed before we jump into some of these strategies. Since we are 100% fully virtual, it's so important that we are still able to give our students the support that they would receive if they were at a brick and mortar school. Now, our advisors and counselors can only do so much. Who do our students spend the majority of their time with every single day? It's us, the teachers, right? And so we are the ones that really have to get the social and emotional learning skills in place. All right. We have to establish that connection with our students from the very beginning. Okay. Not just from the beginning of the year, but from the beginning of every single class session that we have with our students, letting them know we are there for them. We care about them. We are on their side. We are supporting them. Okay. We are going to be adding an SEL criteria addition to our evaluations. It's going to be important. You're going to have to begin learning how to utilize and implement SEL in your class, okay? Like I said earlier, we're going to be having a devoted meeting time specifically to discuss social and emotional learning. Our counselors are going through that training now, and they will be holding sessions with us throughout the year as well. So it's really just time to get on board, okay? So it's perfect that we're talking about this right before we begin the upcoming school year, and it's not going anywhere, all right? So I know that you guys, we are all overwhelmed, right? How can I possibly teach one more thing? I'm already short on time. I only have 50 minutes with each of my classes every single day. Okay. The good thing is you have probably already been using SEL almost on a daily basis without even using it. The thing is, you've just been using it inexplicitly, and we want you to use it explicitly. Okay. And so and making those connections with our students. But let's take a step further. Let's devote some things specifically to SEL. So some easy, simple, but signature SEL practices, some type of welcome ritual, okay? Let's have some activities for inclusion. We want to have engaging practices, academic integration. You can bring SEL, a great way, I'm going to talk about this again in a little bit, through the pieces of work that you're reading in your class. Well, how did this person feel about that? What could they have done differently? Okay, transitions, brain breaks, types of reflections. Chances are a lot of you guys already implement some of these. If you're already using these, tell me in the chat, what are you already doing? How can you take it a step further? Okay. Now, I'm a very visual person. I like to see things kind of in action. And so I do have, like I said, quite a few different strategies that I think we could all use in our class. And really, it would be great for us to all begin implementing some of these so that our students are familiar with it. They know what to expect from each of us, okay? But I have some examples of some effective SEL programs in action and how they are working, okay? So we are going to take a look at those right now. Within the video, we are going to see some strategies for the 5 competencies of SEL: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. As you are watching, I want you to be on the hunt for things that maybe you are already using as well, things that really stand out to you, and be ready to share and discuss following the video.
Self-awareness is the ability to identify your emotions, to be able to tie thoughts and feelings to behaviors.
We find that self-awareness is one of the hardest things for young people, being aware of their own body space and the impact of their words and emotions on other people. So a lot of the work we do is reflective, through conflict mediation, through circles, through journaling, having them see their own impact on the world, and then how to shift that or make a different choice next time.
Self-management is the ability to self-motivate, to have self-control, to regulate one's emotions.
In the classroom, that may be a breathing exercise, or that might be counting 5 or taking a break.
So with students who don't really know how to deal with their anger or don't really know how to resolve conflict, we're giving them a tool that helps them deal with it in a less stressful way.
Social awareness is about embracing diversity, showing empathy for others. Activities might include service learning projects, addressing social justice issues. Role-playing is a great opportunity for students to address how a person might have felt in a conflict on the playground.
We're going to see if other people have had some of the very same experiences around bullying that we've had.
You're in my boat if you have a bully now.
Wow, I see a lot of people.
Relationship skills are important in project-based learning. It's the ability to work cooperatively with someone, to resolve conflict.
It's the one skill you need your whole life. You may not need calculus tomorrow, but you have to know how to work in relationship, whether it's for a coworker or a life partner. You have to know how to handle conflict and how to handle challenges.
Sometimes at recess, Hermione would come over and just start talking about us and saying mean things.
Is it your job to make Danae's job at school hard?
No, I know it's a form of bullying, and sometimes I'll say sorry to her.
So you choose to be someone's ally and make a better choice.
Responsible decision-making is considering the well-being for self and others. It's evaluating the consequences for various behaviors or actions. We do this through shared agreements, one-to-one problem solving, or having students debate an issue.
If you were like, hey, Kashida, how much does an A cost in this class? And you took out your wallet and and I was like, I think $50 would work. Which one of us would be corrupt in that case?
You're the one that's asking for the money?
We're truly teaching these students to be productive citizens. We're teaching them life skills. We're teaching them how to problem solve effectively. We're teaching them how to be resilient.
I think of all the billions of dollars we've spent on Title I and all these intervention programs, and when all is said and done, what do we have to show for it? I think we're trying to teach technical things instead of devoting some of the resources to teach who you are as a person. Once you know who you are, then learning becomes exciting because you've already established a discipline.
All right, so we're going to begin by talking about a few strategies for managing students' emotions and behaviors. A really simple way, and I almost guarantee I know a lot of you are already doing something similar to this right now or last year, is some type of daily check-in. Okay, this could be as your bell ringer activity, something for students to do when they arrive into your virtual classroom, just to let you know kind of how they're doing for that day. What zone are they in? So you can see by the example on the board, I think this one would work awesome because we know our students have the capability to place those emojis onto our virtual whiteboard, right? And we could have this up on the board. Hey there, place your emoji on your color zone for today. Are you feeling happy, nervous, sad, upset? This lets us teachers know from the beginning what kind of moods our students are in. Also, I always encourage my students, hey, if you have anything you want to talk about, but you don't want to share it with the class, send it to me in a private chat. Make yourself available to your students. Students that place their emoji into, the red, blue, or even the yellow zone. Maybe you want to move them into a private breakout room to discuss what's going on for that day, or maybe they just want to have a few minutes to themselves. You could also have, student ambassadors that are there to kind of help out other students as well. But this provides us with an awesome way, simple, easy way to be aware from the beginning what kind of mood your student is in. If you didn't want to do a board activity like this, maybe you want to, have your students write in a journal when they first come in, respond to something on a Padlet, or have a discussion on the board, okay? Strategy. I love this. I'm absolutely doing this for the upcoming school year. A calming breakout room. This is so simple, okay? Who wouldn't want to go here when they are feeling overwhelmed or upset? A virtual calming room, as you can see in the photo here, you could have different links to things. For example, some type of sounds and music, visual relaxation, links to coloring or creative outlets for our students. You could also provide them with support links to things like the suicide prevention hotline, the crisis text line, give them some breathing exercises or just type of physical exercise. Obviously, you would need to absolutely make sure you have some guidelines set in place with this, or you're letting their student learning coach, the student's learning coach, let them know, hey, Anna has been in the calming room now for 8 minutes, and I want to make sure she knows she's still responsible for completing that work. We would love to have her come back when she's ready. Okay. But this is absolutely a great outlet for our students when they're feeling these different types of emotions that are really going to, deter them from putting their best foot forward that day in class. We need to begin teaching mindfulness to our students by helping our students to become more aware of their emotions, their thoughts, bodily sensations. Our students are going to be able to better regulate their emotions. This is going to impact their behavior, their stress level, relationships, and their ability to focus. Mindfulness will help our students to connect their inner and outer experiences and really help them to understand the relationship between the two. It focuses on the 5 senses, okay? And we're really encouraging our students to focus, okay? You should be giving explicit instructions and provide examples of body posture, breathing techniques. You could do some type of focus activity as, simply closing your eyes for 60 seconds and picturing a peaceful place. Things like this are going to help to lower our students' stress and also increase their emotional control. Now, another big key component with social and emotional learning is social awareness and empathy. Okay, how can we make our students more socially aware and more empathetic? Okay, we want to make sure that we are actively listening. We are modeling things like purposeful eye contact with our students. We may not be in a physical classroom with our students, but through our camera, I am making eye contact with them, right? Respectful body language, asking questions to show that I'm interested in hearing what they have to say, offering up congratulatory words. Now, when I am doing these things, I am modeling this for my students. It is going to encourage them to do the same, okay? We could have a gallery walk or a gallery breakout room, right? Where our students are going through the different breakout rooms, leaving encouraging words for their peers. After your students work in their groups, make them reflect. What were the advantages of working with your group on this project? What challenges or roadblocks did your group experience? How did you overcome this? Have discussion questions after some type of reading. How did this character handle the situation? What could they have done differently? Okay. When we're talking about building empathy, the easy way to do this, read some literature that is going to help our students to see situations from different perspectives. Let's think about, the story of the 3 little pigs, right? We always feel empathy for the 3 pigs because we see this wolf as, this evil villain, but perhaps we could see things from the wolf's side, right? And we could, then build empathy for that wolf, right? The wolf huff and puff to blow the pig's houses down. Instead, he just has a bad allergy, right? Seeing things from different perspectives. We can model empathy, okay? Easiest way to, get our students to understand and see something is to model it ourselves. I love the idea of a peer mentor program where our students are helping to resolve conflicts amongst their peers. And something else that I feel is key is to have some type of solution plan for conflicts, okay? If we are noticing, a student is really struggling, let's have this breakout room prompt on the board. When you blank, it makes me feel blank, and next time, can you please? Encouraging our students to tell us exactly what is going on is going to open them up and build empathy. Active and constructive responding is also going to help our students to become more socially aware. Okay, we want to encourage our students and our colleagues to share positive news with one another, right? We want to be social. We want our students to come into class and tell us about their exciting and fun weekend. And so when our students share something positive, we should be using some type of constructive and positive response. Okay, so for example, here on the board, great news. I knew that you could do that. How do you feel about it? Right? Instead of just simply saying, oh, cool, good for you. And we do see that, unfortunately, a lot with our online students. And so really having constructive responses will help them to become more socially aware. Another way to begin incorporating SEL into our classroom, we can use media to recognize and label our emotions. Our students today are exposed to so many different forms of media, social media, their television, right? This occurs on a daily basis. And so we teachers can use examples of media to help our students understand the use of their emotions, as well as developing their ability to really recognize and label the different types of emotions, okay? So we can analyze commercials and explaining and thinking about how they can relate to the emotions seen in that commercial. Analyze political commercials. This would probably be more for high school level, or social media ads, and identify the pictures about products or services to identify the emotions that they are intended to elicit. Our students are really going to be surprised at just how easily our emotions are able to be manipulated. Okay. Another way you could do this, if a commercial is, trying to make us feel sad, right? Or happy or angry, we are going to be easily manipulated. And this could either gain our trust, break it, or change our ideas or desires about something. And in the end, helping us to really be aware of our emotions. All right, another easy way to begin incorporating SEL into your classroom is to foster a growth mindset, right? Growth mindset. When a person believes that, through their hard work, practice, strategies, and help, their intelligence can be developed. It's not set in stone, okay? If a student has, a positive mindset and they increase their effort and learning strategies, they are probably going to end up with a better academic outcome, right? Different strategies here: teach your students about the brain and body. Model a growth mindset in the classroom. Don't let your students say things like, oh, this is too hard, I can't do this. No, help them to rephrase their thoughts into things like, I could try a different strategy. Maybe this one doesn't work out for me, but I know what works for me. I'm going to try that. It takes some time and effort, but the hard work will pay off, right? We want to praise our effort over the outcome. Even if they don't do so well on it the first time, at least they gave it a try, okay? It's things, with the brain and body. By introducing how the brains grow and bodies change, our students can begin connecting the dots, okay? We can problem solve with our students, all right? And then lastly, where I was saying about praising their effort over outcome, okay? We want them to know that even if they didn't do so well, they are trying, okay? Their success will come eventually. Lastly, something really important, our feedback, okay? And this is so easy, you guys. We are already required to give feedback, especially on our CRQs, right? But are you really providing meaningful feedback? Is it meaningful? Does it matter? If the student already knows it, it's going to be disregarded. A great quote from the Distance Learning Playbook said, the relationship between the person providing feedback and the person receiving it has a mediating effect on the usefulness of the feedback. but it's only when the feedback is received that it works. So how can we teachers ensure that our feedback is being received? Okay, we must have the following in order for this to work. You have to have a positive relationship with your students. You need to make them care about what you have to say. You, as the teacher, have to be seen as credible in the eyes of the student. Do you know what you're talking about? The climate of your classroom has to be such that errors are not viewed with shame, but as part of the learning process. I encourage you to utilize a different feedback strategy. Don't just leave, typed text on the assignment. Make a video for the student. You could leave an audio message of the feedback. Leave a fun meme. Use those intelligent agents to send out emails with feedback, okay? All right, so I've gone over quite a few different strategies with you guys today. And like I said earlier, I know that a lot of you guys are already incorporating SEL into your classroom. So what practices are you already using? What are some ideas that maybe you thought of today through this session? Or what did you really like that you would like to begin implementing? I want you guys to share that on the board. Let's kind of chat about this. And if anybody would like to get on the microphone, you can do that at this time as well. I'm just going to give you a couple minutes to share some ideas here. Let's see what everybody is thinking. How are we going to begin bringing SEL to our students here at INDLS? All right, thank you so much to everyone for sharing their ideas. Just kind of looking ahead here, what is going to be happening with SEL as we push forward? In August, we will begin discussing SEL and achieving the stated objectives bi-weekly during our Wednesday meetings. Our administrators are going to be sharing SEL in action videos and share best practices. In September, we will all be required to watch 2 colleagues' class recordings while looking for their use of SEL. Maybe you'll find something new that you can take back to your classes. Those teachers will then meet at the end of the month to discuss their findings and approaches for improving. Our administrators and lead teachers will begin looking for SEL during observations, and this will carry on from October through the end of the school year. So, where are you at with SEL? I want you to be completely honest here. I have a self-assessment for you today, and this is something that you are going to become really familiar with because we are going to continue to come back to this assessment over the course of the year, and it is going to have you assess your strengths and areas to develop as you promote SEL through explicit instruction, integration into academic instruction or programming, and a supportive learning environment. If you would please, this is in Google Docs. After you have completed it, you will share it with our principal by the end of the day today. We do still have some time left here today, a few minutes to wrap this up. And so I want you to get started on it, and I encourage you to just go ahead and knock it out now, finish it up. And I will I'm going to open this up and just go over it with you guys really briefly, and then I'll give you guys some time to work on that. I put the link to the self-assessment into the chat, and basically you've got the indicators that you are using to rate sometimes, infrequently, unsure, or often. Just go ahead and put an X in there. And just be honest with yourself, you guys. There is no reason to, lie and say, oh, I do that all the time. No, this is really just for you to kind of think about what exactly are you doing. So I foster academic mindsets by helping youth set goals, commending academic risk-taking and incremental progress, showing them how to correct mistakes, framing struggle as a key part of the process of learning, okay? Is your time balanced with periods of educator-led instruction, talk and interaction, and time to work and reflect alone? So it's not too long. I know it might seem like it, but it's really actually not that bad. My text is just kind of large on it. So if you guys would please take the remaining time that we have today here in class to complete that, I would really appreciate it. These are going to be due anyway. Like I said, you do need to share it with our admin by the end of the day today. Guys, this presentation will be sent out to you. I've got lots of links to some really, really good SEL sources here. This will also be shared on the Weebly for you as well. And as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to email me at kehuber@k12.com. Like I said, let's use this remaining time to finish up those self-assessments. And I will stick around in here if you guys have any questions at all. Thank you so much for your time. And I can't wait to see the awesome ways that you guys are going to begin implementing SEL into your virtual classroom. Have a great day. Bye.